When you live alone in a big city, silence doesn't soothe you. It erases you. You wake up, hear the drip of the faucet, distant traffic, a far-off siren, but it all passes through you like sound through glass. You're there, but not completely. That's exactly the state Alex was in when he found the game. He was just sitting in the kitchen, eating instant noodles, mindlessly scrolling through his phone. Half the apps were junk, ads, TikToks, filler, and then he saw a banner. Overlayer isn't just a game, it's what's hidden on your streets. The icon looked basic, a gray circle over a blurred city background, like an old camera filter. The description was short. Find artifacts, point your lens, unlock the layer, play with the city, play with reality. The reviews were strange. I saw things I wasn't supposed to. Better not to finish it. Alex smirked and tapped download. The install took under a minute. The app barely asked for permissions, just camera and location. When he opened it, it went straight into camera mode. No tutorial, no menus, just a message in the corner. Nearest artifact, 12 meters. He stood up, walked from the kitchen to the hallway, aimed his camera at the front door. On screen, everything looked normal. Coat rack, hallway light, door. Then the screen blinked, like a soft digital ping. In the bottom right corner, a tiny pulsing pixel icon appeared. It looked like an old coin, semi-transparent, flickering. He moved the phone closer. A line popped up. Artifact found. 1 of 99. No sound, no music, no reward, just as 1 of 99. Then a new marker appeared. 34 meters away, pointing toward the street. Half an hour later, Alex was walking around the neighborhood, eyes glued to the screen. On-screen arrows led him around corners, past parked cars, into courtyards he'd never noticed before. Artifacts popped up at random, in trash bins, under benches, on stairwells. Each one different, pixelated shapes, glyphs, mosaic fragments, cryptic symbols. He had collected 18, but the system only counted 17. One of them didn't register. He went back. It was a silhouette, standing at the far end of the courtyard, right where a broken stone, a bit of fence, and the shadow of a tree met. On screen, a gray figure, blurred. No face, no features, just a gray shape, like something pulled from an old VHS tape. Alex raised his phone. The screen trembled. A low vibration buzzed. No label, no text, just him, staring into the camera, not moving. Alex stepped forward, lifted his eyes, nothing, looked back at the screen. He was still there, in real life, empty courtyard. He force-closed the game, reopened it. The figure was gone. Back at home he checked the recordings, but the moment was missing, as if the camera hadn't been recording at all. Artifacts, still 17 of 99, no more, no less. He sat in the kitchen again, slurping noodles, telling himself, cool detail, maybe a hidden Easter egg, maybe a glitch. He didn't know. The game had already started. He woke up around noon. His phone was dead, which was strange, since it had been nearly fully charged before he went to sleep. While plugging it in, he had this tight, nagging feeling, like he'd forgotten something important, something from a dream, something with a plot, too coherent to be just a dream. Coffee didn't help. Washing his face didn't help. Only one thing did. The screen. As soon as his phone powered on, he opened Overlayer. Scan map, new target, 112 meters, toward the old railway bridge. He stepped outside, and instantly realized he wasn't looking for an artifact. He was looking for him, the silhouette. He didn't know why. There wasn't a mission, not really, just a pull, like needing to see it again. The yard was empty, camera quiet, but as he neared the bridge support, the screen flickered. Just for a split second, barely long enough to register, he was there again. Same figure, only this time, closer. Almost centered in the frame, still, faceless, but present, like that feeling you get when someone in a crowd is staring right at you. Alex stopped, lifted his head. Nothing, just old graffiti and torn flyers on concrete. He looked back at the screen. Gone. It kept happening, for the next 3 days. Every time he opened Overlayer, not right away but eventually, the figure appeared. Sometimes barely a glimpse, sometimes closer, sometimes off to the side. Watching, in the subway, at a bus stop, in the doorway of a diner, always only in the camera, never in real life. He tried taking a screenshot. The app blocked it, tried recording his screen. The footage wouldn't save. On the 4th day, a new tab appeared inside the app. Notes. He didn't remember any update. Inside was just one file. Phantom. He's not watching you. He's waiting for you to notice. He read it 3 times, then closed it. That same night, he woke up with the distinct feeling he wasn't alone. No sound, no movement, just that strange kind of silence. Too thick, too present. He reached for his phone, turned on the camera. The screen showed only darkness. He raised the lens, and the silhouette was standing in the corner of the room, still, motionless. He yanked off his headphones, flipped the light on. Nothing. Heart pounding, he looked through the screen again. The corner was empty. No figure. And yet, that feeling, like someone had just turned away. He didn't sleep until dawn, and the next morning, the game launched on its own. No tap, no prompt, just open. He stopped looking at the city with his own eyes. Now, it was only through the camera. Without it, he felt blind, as if the real world no longer existed, at least, not fully. In the past 2 days, he'd stopped answering calls, deleted his socials, turned off all notifications. Only Overlayer remained, quiet, precise, demanding nothing, except one thing: watch. The silhouette was appearing more often, closer. Sometimes across the street, sometimes just a few feet ahead, sometimes behind glass, in the shimmer of a puddle, behind passing strangers. He started trying to talk to it. At first, just a whisper. "Who are you?" Then louder. "Can you hear me?" No response, no movement. But sometimes, the figure would tilt its head, just slightly, as if listening. A new icon appeared in the interface. A microphone. Voice channel active, awaiting contact. Alex spoke aloud, soft, almost under his breath. "I see you. Are you real? Is this part of the game?" No answer. But minutes later, a new file appeared in the app's notes. "Boundaries shifting. You're closer than you think. He's already within the field of view." That's when the glitches started. The image on his screen would lag. People and cars would stutter, freeze for a frame, then resume. Once, he caught his own eyes in a window reflection. They blinked out of sync, in the camera, sooner than in real life. It was like the screen had started living, separately. He tried walking outside without the phone, just to see what it felt like. He made it 3 blocks. Without the camera, everything felt muted, like the city hadn't fully loaded. The colors were faded, the sounds muffled, the faces of people, unfocused, like dreams you forget before breakfast. He turned back. As soon as he launched Overlayer again, the relief hit. The world returned. The city felt real again. One evening someone knocked. His neighbor. "Hey, you okay? Haven't seen you in a while." Alex stared through the peephole. The guy looked normal, familiar, but the camera didn't register him. On screen, nothing. Just a hallway. Like the lens was staring into an empty corridor. He didn't open the door. Later, the game displayed a new message. Transition near. Maintain visual contact. That same night, on camera, the silhouette turned its head. Slowly. Like underwater. And for the first time, it raised a hand. A simple gesture, index finger to its lips. Shh. And in that exact moment, the sound around Alex began to fade. The city hum, the creaks of his neighbor's steps, even his own breathing, all of it went flat, like someone had stuffed the world with cotton. Nothing, except a faint high-pitched tone, and the thump in his palm where the phone rested. He glanced at himself in the mirror. and noticed his reflection in the camera stood just a little off, half a step forward. Not quite him. Close, but not. He didn't remember the rest of the evening. He must have fallen asleep, phone in hand, app still open. He didn't realize he was awake at first. The phone was still in his hand, the screen still on, the app was active, the camera pointed at the corner of the room. On the floor, carpet, on the carpet, the silhouette, sitting, legs folded, head slightly tilted, looking straight into the lens. Alex jerked his head up. No one was there. He looked back at the screen. The figure was still there, closer now, almost at the edge of the frame. Subject detected. Contact possible. The text burned slowly into the bottom of the screen. He didn't know what to do. Speak, touch, type. He whispered, "I'm here. I see you." No reaction. He moved the camera closer, and suddenly, everything vanished. The screen went black. New text appeared. Follow him. He stepped outside. The city looked the same, but wasn't. People moved, too smoothly. Cars glided with perfect timing. Traffic lights blinked in flawless intervals. He raised the phone. The silhouette stood across the street, waiting. When Alex crossed, it disappeared. On the screen. Continue. He walked for hours, behaving like in a game, turning corners, cutting through alleys, under bridges, across backlots, where not even Wi-Fi reached. But the app never crashed. No bugs, no lag. Only the path, and the figure, always appearing ahead. Sometimes it turned its head, sometimes raised a hand, like checking if he was still behind. He stopped when the camera showed a building that didn't exist in real life. On screen, a crumbling brick chapel. Windowless, in reality, just a slab of concrete, some trash, a faded no-entry sign. Alex circled the place, looked with his own eyes. Nothing. Empty. But on the phone, a door, open. He stepped forward, eyes fixed on the screen. Inside it was quiet, but not a silence that muffled. It absorbed. No footsteps, no wind, only the glow of the phone, and the silhouette. Standing directly in front of him, it held out its hand, waiting. Alex reached out too. Not toward the screen, but toward the space beyond it. He felt it. Real contact, warm, gentle pressure, not skin, but something alive. The phone slipped from his hand. He woke up 2 days later, on the floor, in his own room. The light was on. The phone had dozens of missed calls, messages, notifications. Everything seemed normal. But when he turned on the camera, nothing was. The image lagged behind his movements. His reflection in the mirror didn't blink. The silhouette, now barely distinguishable from the shadows, stood just behind him. He tried to close the app. Nothing happened. Tried to delete it. Nothing happened. It was no longer listed in his installed apps, but the camera still showed the overlayer interface. He spoke again. "Who are you?" No response. He no longer felt time. Day or night, didn't matter. He drank water when he remembered, ate if he saw food. But the main thing, he never let go of the phone. The camera was always on, not for him, for someone else. He knew that. But he didn't feel anything anymore, just stillness and surveillance. He couldn't remember when it started. He knew he was still alive because he could see himself breathing, but he no longer felt inside his body. It was like he'd moved out, not out of his apartment, but out of himself, like his consciousness now lived through the screen, and the thing that ate, slept, walked, was just a shell, old, detached. He'd wake up and see, on his screen, himself sleeping. He'd move, and the screen showed it a second later. One day, he looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the face. But on the phone, it was familiar, correct, the way it should be. People stopped seeing him. He'd walk down the street and no one would make eye contact. Even when someone bumped into him, they never said sorry. He'd catch his reflection in shop windows, blurry, half-loaded, like a video buffering on bad Wi-Fi. Then came a new message in the app. Observation stabilized. Subject nearly ready. He stopped speaking. Language became heavy, unnecessary. Why speak when you could just watch? He spent hours sitting in his room, watching a figure, a new silhouette, appear on screen, one that looked like him, not exactly, but closer every day. Sometimes it mimicked him. Other times, it moved first. When he nodded, it was already glancing away. When he sat, it was already seated. Then the camera began showing other rooms, not his. Apartments he didn't recognize, streets he'd never walked, faces he'd never seen. And in each of those places, he saw the silhouette, sometimes in the distance, sometimes front and center. And then, for the first time, the center of the screen showed him, without a phone. Expressionless, still, just him, as if the camera had turned outward, as if someone else was holding it. He tried turning the phone away. The image didn't change. He stood, and the screen lagged. He jumped, but on screen, he just sat. He understood. He wasn't in control anymore. That night he woke up, but his body didn't move. Only his eyes were awake, watching the screen, watching the light. Then, a voice. Not a text, a whisper. You did well. You're part of it now. Your shift has begun. The next day the screen showed a new person, a stranger, young guy, phone in hand. That familiar cautious curiosity in his eyes. The same interface, the same game. He was scanning, moving the camera, approaching a wall. And on his screen stood Alex, blurred, motionless. A silhouette. Alex raised his hand, touched his finger to his lips. Quiet. The phone clicked. A new angle, a new player. Now he knew what it looked like from the other side. The new player moved through the city, just like Alex once had, staring through the lens, smiling when he found artifacts, frowning when the game went quiet. Alex watched. No thoughts, no questions, just watched. He no longer felt his body. No weight, no breath. There was only sight through the camera. He was inside the lens, the interface updated. Player 0, active, assigned, surveillance, progress, stable. He began to recognize the others. On the screen, next to the new player, figures would appear. In the distance, faint. They just stood and watched. He felt them, former versions, past Alexis, now shadows, now eyes, now lenses, each one waiting to be seen, to be discovered, to be followed, to be played. Sometimes he felt pain, but not his. The new player would scream, try to delete the app, throw the phone, cry in alleyways. And Alex, he watched, calm, unblinking, like a sensor. Player 0, 0, origin, point of reference. You passed. You are the system. You are the interface. He saw dozens, hundreds of screens, each one starting the same. Welcome to Overlayer. Find what's hidden in your streets. If you made it all the way to the end, then you're exactly the kind of person I'm looking for. Hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot to me. I hope I can keep bringing you more stories, to make you smile, or maybe, to scare you.